Welcome to the show. I am your host, the Vincent Alan Leland McFarland Sr. And thank you for tuning in. So we are on our way to the Coleman A. Young building in downtown Detroit so we can submit our lawsuit, our complaint against the city of Wayne for their lack of cooperation with my FOIA request. This one is about the Michigan Tax Tribunal case. So this is, really the most important one. And they've outright denied the release of that information. So we're gonna file this lawsuit. And then we're gonna go home and then we're gonna respond to the other denials. The one for July 5th, the $250,000 demand, right? We requested the information about July 5th and the city of Wayne wants $250,000. So we're going to appeal that one. And then we got several. I think there's four or five. We got a couple more we have to file, which we don't anticipate getting any sort of response from. And if we do, it's going to be, some crazy number. So I anticipate we're probably going to have to file another FOIA lawsuit after this one. But I think once it gets heard in front of the court, my hope is that it'll force the city of Wayne to start acting in good faith, because if they keep denying these FOIAs in this type of manner, I think it's going to lead to sanctions. So either way, we have to get the information. The court wants it. We have to be proactive and trying to obtain discovery and it's the law, right? So nobody's above the law. Everybody must follow it. And it's up to the courts to ensure that those laws do get followed, right? So unfortunately, it costs money, right? In this case, about $175. And then, of course, I got to file the PPO. I got to go file that. I'll do that one online, though. I'll do the personal protective order online, because if you're willing to admit in front of multiple police officers as the fire captain, if you're willing to admit that you just want to go onto a resident's property just to piss them off, that's the only reason you want to go. I'm gonna say that's harassment. I'm gonna say that meets the legal definition of harassment, which means I need to file a complaint. I need to go file a police report, at least attempt to. I know the city of Wayne's not going to take that report, but it's a lien. They'll still put something in their system, right, of some sort. But basically, I need to call and I guess file a formal complaint. Although, as we all know, it's not going to do any good. But I mean, that's quite literally the textbook definition of harassment, right? If you're a fire captain and you're in front of somebody's house saying that you just want to go into their house, you want to go into their backyard, you want to go through their side yard, you want to go through you want to go hundreds of feet onto their property, past their house, down a ravine, into a wetland, into a lowland, and the only reason, now this is the key to this whole thing, right? That statement is just golden on so many different levels. That's the only reason I want to go down there, right? I mean, you could not ask for a better confession, right? And, that's malice, right? That clearly shows malice, right? And you're abusing your position of authority to violate someone's rights, not only, but to harass them, right? Because that is, I mean, if I was on video saying that I want to go into the mayor of Wayne, Michigan's backyard, right? I want to go into somebody's backyard only to piss them off, right? Well, it's harassment. It's textbook definition of what harassment is. So legally it's harassment, and certainly would be something that, given the fact that they've done the same exact behavior 4 other times, I mean, there's clearly a pattern of harassment here, and now we have a confession. And so that's, you know, something that needs to be a criminal charge, but you got the police who are actively implicated in it, right? I mean, that statement came off a police worn body camera, right? So the same officer that arrested and charged me on May 9th of 2025, who falsely imprisoned me and falsely arrested me, and you know, I mean, I was accused of violating an ordinance that doesn't even exist. I was, you know, well, I was charged with interference. Well, why were they there on my property? Well, they were there on my property because they alleged that I violated an ordinance that didn't even exist. And then they misrepresented to the court. They misrepresented to the court numerous times that this was a codified ordinance, that they had lawful purpose to be on my property, and obviously they never did. So, you know, that's textbook malicious and vindictive prosecution. That's literally what it is. And there's not a reasonable juror, there's not a reasonable person in this country who would think that any of that was an exigency. You know, because that would be the only thing that could save the city of Wayne. Because community caretaking doesn't, open fields doesn't. The only thing that could have saved the city of Wayne was exigency, and as their own actions clearly demonstrated, and as the body-worn camera footage clearly shows, there is no exigency. There is no life or death situation. There is no situation that is of immediate attention, that's life or death or property damage, you know, a structural fire, you know, anything that would be, you know, an exigency. There was none, and there was not even a codified ordinance. So, you know, that's very important details, right? That's very, you know, critical information here. So if probable cause was impossible, then that means that malicious prosecution is literally the only thing it could be. And so, you know, when you don't have any possible way of having probable cause that a crime occurred, right? That there was a crime, right? That there was a lawful purpose to be on my property, let alone hundreds of feet on my property, right? So you're 200 plus feet into my property, and you just, like, outside of an exigent circumstance or consent or a warrant, you're fucked, right? So it is interesting, but I think we have enough to finally have a hearing for a personal protection order against the City of Wayne Fire Department and their police department, and force the City of Wayne to have to try to justify why they need to keep coming on my property to enforce a law that doesn't exist. Well, Killjoy 3096, accountability is hard to find, just look at ICE. Well, you know, I don't know exactly what's going on with ICE. I'm not sure what incident you're referring to specifically. And I do agree that the federal government is, you know, quite frankly, out of line in a lot of cases, but the federal government and the state government couldn't hold a candle to your average local municipality, the corruption and the lawlessness, right? The felonious lawlessness, like the City of Wayne, right? Because there's more City of Waynes out there. The City of Wayne is just one of the dumber ones that make it, you know, too obvious, and they're too sloppy to cover up their, you know, clear corruption. But most municipalities probably are smarter, right? They're probably, you know, obviously the City of Wayne, Michigan is the most poorly run city, right? I use that term very loosely, in all of Michigan, right? In my opinion, Metro Detroit for certain. There's not a more dysfunctionally ran city in all of Metro Detroit. I mean, the city of Wayne is run by, quite literal, I'm going to say it, fucking retards. And yes, I'm going to emphasize the word fucking, right? I'm going to keep the word fucking in there. Fucking retards. Buffoons of the highest magnitude humanly possible, right? I mean, we're talking just the most worthless, incompetent, malicious people in the state of Michigan, probably in the United States. I mean, but unfortunately, there are, very similar examples, very similar cases, right? Similarly situated people or governments, right? Just like Wayne, Michigan. So maybe not as stupid, but certainly as evil and as corrupt. But I believe my point is, it starts at the local level. Look at Trump, right? Yeah, I agree, right? Look at all of them, right? Every person who has any federal office should be highly scrutinized to the highest possible order. But it all starts at a local level, guys. The reason that we have these national issues, these statewide issues, right? These worldwide issues, is because of the local governments, right? The local governments are the fabric of any neighborhood, right? And it all, like, I know they say normally shit rolls downhill, but in politics, I believe that shit rolls uphill. And release the files, absolutely. But I agree with that, and I hope that they do. But if we can't get the small shit right, if we can't, I think you're taking the wrong approach, right? Like, if you can't clean up your backyard, so to speak, then how are you going to take on a problem of that magnitude? The left wants Epstein videos. Well, I think most people, most Americans, 95% of Americans, Democrat, Republican, Independent, they all want the Epstein videos. So they act like Democrats, because there's probably equally just as many Republicans as there are Democrats that are implicated in that, in the Epstein files, right? So, yeah, I mean, I agree 100%, but, I mean, obviously everybody's talking about the Epstein files. Nobody's really talking about the city of Wayne. I mean, Anthony Miller, former councilman Anthony Miller, is certainly fighting a good fight, and others have in the past, and I'm sure others will in the future. But outside of me and my family, my wife, Louisa Buys, there's no other people talking about the city of Wayne and highlighting the city of Wayne like I do. So yeah, I mean, the Epstein files, obviously, that's my hope and dream, right? Is that those will be released at some point. And of course, I'm going to advocate for the release of those 100%. But, there's Epstein files in every state. Every state has its own Epstein file. Every local government has its own Epstein file. I mean, what's an Epstein file, right? It's just, the truth, right? And the truth is that a lot of these, governments, I don't care, federal, local, state, they're all doing the same shit, guys. And not going to say that every single person in government is a pedophile or PDF file. I'm not going to go that far. But there's a lot that are, and there's a lot that know about it and don't say nothing, or those that are woefully oblivious to it, let's say. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the good cop myth, right? I don't think good cops exist because, well, there's far too many bad ones, and the so-called good ones don't police the bad ones, so to speak. So it's, I think it's a myth, right? Just like I think a good politician is a myth. Because, a person that has a conscience, right, would if I get into government in Wayne and I see some just obscenely corrupt shit, right? Well, some way, somehow, the truth's going to be told to the people. Somehow, some way. how, but God willing, it's going to happen. So that's all I have for you right now, guys. I'm going to get in there and get this lawsuit filed, one of many, with the circuit court. And again, thank you guys for your support, the continued support for Disabled Vet Source on eBay. I really appreciate all of the purchases of all the high quality merchandise that we have, only the highest quality, all authentic, 100% authenticity rate with eBay, right? eBay, they authenticate many of my shoes and merchandise that I sell, and never had a fake one. So hundreds of sales, all 5-star reviews, 100% positive feedback, and never had a fake. So we're doing pretty good, and we really appreciate your support again for that. And we appreciate your support for, Disabled Vet Source, our firewood. We do sell firewood on the property, so we do appreciate the support for that. Of course, you must comply with the law, and if you wish to purchase some firewood, unless I know you and you've explicitly been given permission to be on the property or come on the property, please go to the road and use the front door and knock, right? Use the driveway, but park in the side street, walk through the driveway up to the front door, wait on the front porch, and that's how it works, right? City of Wayne wouldn't know that. City of Wayne wouldn't have the first clue about doing that, right? Except for Captain Perez, right, with the police department. I think it was on June 17th, I do believe. He came out to my house, and I had a big fire going that day, and he did not trespass into my backyard. He waited. He knocked on the front door, waited for me to answer, had a conversation. He gave me the open burn policy. He gave me a copy of the open burn policy. These videos are on my YouTube channel. But Lieutenant Perez gave me a copy of the open burn policy. But he knocked on the front door and waited, and then gave me a copy of the open burn policy. Now, obviously, the open burn policy is non-enforceable, so he erred in that judgment. But that's how it's supposed to be done, right? Like normal people, right? In America, this is how it works, right? Like, you knock on the person's door and you wait for them to answer their front door. You don't go break into their property and their curtilage, and it's not what normal, reasonable people do. So if you wish to engage with me in any fashion, and you have a lawful purpose, or you're trying to buy some firewood or something, and or if I know of you, or if you don't have hostile ill will like the government in Wayne seems to have against me, then I don't have any issue with you coming to my front door and knocking and waiting for me to answer, and for whatever it is, political, you want to buy something, whatever it is, that's legally allowed. But what's not allowed is to just trespass and to break into people's property and invade the sanctity of their home and the dominion of their property. And first of all, that's a great way to get shot in any state, any country, right? But especially in the United States, where people have a Second Amendment and a right to self-defense and to stand their ground and to protect their castle and their curtilage and all that. So I just think it's not a very good practice for anyone to take to just break into people's properties. It tends not to. Yeah, you might gamble and get away with it a few times, but hey, you're coming to my house, you're breaking into my property in the middle of the night, and there's no emergency, and we didn't call you out there, and we didn't give you permission to be out here, and just gambling with your life at that point, right? That goes for anybody. I mean, that's just common sense, right? Or common sense that it should be, but seems to not be, I guess. in America. But that's just some word of advice for you guys. Respect people's property, respect people's rights, cherish the Constitution, because that's all we have in this country, and that's what makes us unique and better than every other country, is our great laws and our great constitutions. And time that we start, upholding it and respecting it, and just going on people's property, violating their rights, doing, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. So, but if you're, just not with the government, I mean, this goes for either or. But if you're just a regular person and you're just a good citizen, I mean, good citizens don't break into people's backyards, and I mean, I'm sat next to a black man. I'm not gonna put him on blast here, but he's never broken into someone's backyard. And he grew up in Detroit. It's just fun. You wouldn't dare break into someone's backyard in Detroit, because what would happen? If you're lucky, you might just get chased out of there. If you're unlucky, you're going to be meeting Jesus. So, not a good idea. Not the smartest thing to do. So, I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate your time. We got to go take care of this real quick. I get some lawsuits filed, and of course, we're going to get you guys some new councilmen. Hopefully, a new mayor as well. And the city of Wayne can actually start moving forward, right? We can get rid of these repressive and void for vagueness ordinances, and we can start getting into empirical reality. We can start, asking the community what they want to see in their community, and then giving them reasonably within the limits of what we can, giving them what they want, right? What a crazy concept, right? Everybody wants lower taxes. Everybody wants less regulation, more freedom, more business-friendly environment, more community policing, right, where we actually solve real violent crime and property crime, and things that negatively impact the lives of our people, right? Like having a bonfire pit on a road where everyone has a bonfire pit, and using the bonfire pit, that's not community policing. That's just harassing people and fucking with people, trying to just piss people off, right? And that's not community policing, or community firefighting for that matter. So that's my promise to you guys, to the people of Wayne, Michigan. We are going to do everything in our power to hold bad actors accountable and to bring accountability and transparency back to our city, right? And if we can't get that done, then we need to look at other options, annexation and et cetera, right? I mean, every option has to be on the table, but we've got to get the current shithole of Wayne, Michigan, we've got to get it into non-shithole status and get it into something that is resembling a organized, competently ran municipality, because right now we don't have that. It's obvious we don't have competence and leadership, and we just have a bunch of fat white trash trying to get get their paychecks and get their pensions, and what's up? Oh, but we don't have to accept incompetent fat white trash and fake Muslims and just bums in general, right? We don't have to accept it. We can actually we can have something nice in Wayne, believe it or not, guys. I know it's hard to believe, and believe me, the vision's not easy to see, guys. I don't want you to think for a second that I've got it all figured out, I know everything, and I've thought of everything. No, I mean, I'm just, like I said, I'm the guy that's crazy enough to say something, and crazy enough to not let it go. And I think for most people in Wayne, from those that I've talked to, and I've spoken to hundreds of people, that's what anybody in Wayne could want and ask for, is they're not looking for perfection. They're not even really looking for excellence, right? They're just looking for, man, I got the hiccups. They're just looking for good faith and competence and transparency, and that's really it. And so I can definitely provide that. My wife definitely, Louisa Baez, can provide that. And your other council candidate options, we can they can provide that as well, because I wouldn't endorse, nor would my wife, anyone that we didn't feel that had the values of not only us, right, of Christian values, of God-fearing values, but most of the people in Wayne, Michigan, in the conversations that I've had, we all share similar values. We all want similar things, and those things we can achieve together. But obviously, that requires some difficult conversations and ruffling some feathers. But needless to say, anybody that we would endorse, we've fully vetted, and not to say that we have to be a monoblock and agree on everything, but there's just certain things that people can see, it's obvious, and there's certain things that everybody wants, and it's not a Democrat or Republican message. It's just simply a message of hope and a message of better days, and a message that us collectively, if we're willing, we can get this shit show straightened out in the city of Wayne, Michigan. So, God willing, we'll be able to do that. Obviously, the city of Wayne's trying to keep me off the ballot, of course, and trying to keep me out of the city hall. That's why they violated my MCL 211.7B disabled veteran tax exemption. They did that because that's their way of falsely claiming that I'm in arrears to the city, because the city charter has it spelled out that if you're in arrears to the city, you cannot be in public office. So it's not that hard. It's not that difficult to figure out what the city of Wayne's up to. It's very easy, actually, and proving it hasn't really been that hard either, because the city of Wayne leaves so many breadcrumbs, right? They leave so many things. They don't tie up their loose ends, and they leave too many breadcrumbs around, and it's just sloppy. The sloppiness of them has started to catch up to them, and their maliciousness and their vindictiveness. And I'm talking the city council, which is everybody, right? That's the city manager. That's the downtown development authority director, Lisa Goyen. Looks like a fucking pig in the face. Looks like she smelled a fart. Nasty woman. Her face looks like how a butthole would smell, right? A butthole would smell like how her face looks. So, but you got Tina Parnell, that's the clerk. Then you got John Racy, that's the mayor. All of them, right? So Dowd and Darwich and Quarles and Wise and Lawrence and Brock, right? I mean, they're all, like I said, they're all pathetic. Judge Brita O'Leary, right, who doesn't understand what a codified ordinance is, doesn't care, right, as long as the people that she doesn't like get put in jail, right, because they had a bonfire, right, had a bonfire pit, and can't use a bonfire pit that we approved, right? You're not allowed to do that, because that's just how it works in Wayne. Well, you're allowed to until we decide that you're not allowed to. That's the big secret here. So we're looking forward to really figuring out what exactly has been going on. So we'll let you guys go. We got to get this submitted to the court, and once we do that, we'll check back in with you later on, and give you guys an update, of course. But I hope everybody stays safe out here. Hope everybody has a great Thursday, great Friday, a great weekend upcoming. And if nobody told you they love you today, just know that I do. And that includes all of you treacherous and evildoers. I still have love for you guys too. So thank you for your time again, as always, and keep fighting the good fight, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.